white black ingenues had in Hollywood for these roles, are you saying that that means, based on that logic, that black American actors should be secondhand or should be
No,
put
that's not what
they
she's
should be
saying.
put to the
That's
they
not
should
what
be
she's
put to the
saying.
side
You're
when
using
playing
that in
roles
order to push your
roles
narrative.
that are
That is
not
not what
black
she's
American.
saying.
You
What
need
she's
to,
that's
we're
not
gonna
what
all
she's saying.
take a timeout. Here's the overarching theme that they're trying to get you to understand, Nana, is that comparing yourself as a Nigerian or comparing Delroy as a Jamaican, a West Indian, a Brit, comparing any other racialized group to Black Americans is a false equivalency. There is no benefit to Black Americans playing any roles that may be characterized by African characteristics or Caribbean characteristics. There is no benefit to Black Americans as much as there is to y'all playing them, period. That okay,
if that
so
was
you could
true,
get
then
into
he won the
production
Oscar for that
team,
role.
you could get
He
into
won the
production
Oscar.
team, you could get into, and by the way, Black American, it's not arbitrary that Black Americans like Delroy. Delroy publicly and consistently what's the word I want? Not attributes, says that he wouldn't have a career without Black Americans. He gives his flowers.
He pays homage.
He pays homage. There you go. He pays homage. He doesn't act. He doesn't act like he doesn't know that he has an entire career because of Black Americans and because Black Americans on the ground in that industry have taken him under his wing. And he's on top of being Jamaican, he's a whole Brit. Okay, so that's not arbitrary. And you also don't get to paint the standards of what another ethnic group has for themselves. Who cares about J-Lo and playing a Mexican? Mexicans didn't go through what Black Americans did in this country. And it's not just also that y'all are not the same ethnic group. While you're not comparable, you don't have the same history. You're in America, and this conversation is happening within the context of American society. And we're talking about Black Americans who historically have been disenfranchised, marginalized, brutalized, if you want to get into the more vivid examples of how they have been sabotaged in this country. It is a pattern. It is something engineered. And y'all, as melanated immigrants, play into it, and you want to act obtuse when you get called out on it, because you actually, what you don't want to admit is that you actually don't have any foundation to stand on in this country without Black Americans. Imagine you as a Nigerian, it's safer for you to live in this country than it is to live in your own. Because of what? Not because of nothing out of thin air, because what did Brooke say? Because Black Americans have fought. Y'all like to overlook the fighting part. Y'all didn't go through nothing in this country. And when you want to talk about, let's talk about West Indians, for example, because they were actually enslaved, right? But when they immigrate to America, if you separate what their experience and duration have been in this country, it is nothing Black Americans have been through. But y'all keep trying to act like you're interchangeable. Y'all keep trying to act like y'all substitutional just because you possess melanin. You're not. You didn't go through anything in this country. In fact, you didn't have stuff just handed to you. You had it thrown at you. They was waiting for you at the door. You had gift baskets upon arrival, okay? And whatever you think that is, however little you think that was, it's more than Black Americans have ever been given. Matter of fact, Black Americans have been given nothing at all. 0%, 9, 0, nuka, none. Like Brooke said 10,000 times, Black Americans fought. And you know how far, I want to know how distant I could tell y'all are from having to fight for something? This is because y'all think it's so otherworldly to think that anything that exists is because someone fought for it. You think whatever Black Americans are experiencing or whatever Black Americans have or whatever position Black American gets to is because white people just decided to throw it to them like a bone. Black Americans literally fought for every single position.
I don't think that.
It don't matter what you think because it's written down in history. And look at you just proving the point that you want to insert your thoughts and imaginations into what's literal history and what's literal fact, okay? Nobody cares about what white people do if they have what's his name playing Thor and he's a whole Australian. Nope, it's a race construct that was designed by white people. Obviously, if it's designed to benefit them, they're going to play into it. It's not designed to benefit Black Americans, and Black Americans were the guinea pigs of it all. So just because you're also racialized as Black, you're not in Nigeria, you're in America. So you're under this societal context and you're under this racial construct. It's not designed
right.
to
I
benefit.
agree.
I'm not done. It's not designed to benefit Black Americans. So it doesn't matter that white people are linking up just like they linked up in the Berlin conference to carve up your continent into 54 countries. Did you benefit from that yet? I don't think so. So don't talk to me about how whitey people could play a Sweden, an Australian, a British, and they just all skipping and holding hands. It's their system. It's meant to benefit them. Okay, they're meant to benefit from that, not black people. Okay, then you want to bring up Black Panther, a fictitious land with fictitious people and a fictitious story. Okay, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Wakandans don't exist. Whatever them people wasn't coming to America, Zamundians, they don't exist. You can't ethnically erase a people that don't exist. We're talking about what's her face? A whole Nigerian playing Harriet Tubman. Imagine the people that sold slaves playing the slave. What's going on? Okay, we talking about this Ugandan playing Fred Hampton. Okay, we're talking about ethnic erasure. Black Americans exist. Wakandans do not exist. Okay, Viola Davis at the top of her game played Woman King. Y'all ain't giving handouts to Black Americans. Black Americans are giving handouts to you. They making you relevant. It is a false equivalency to try and act like just because Black Americans are playing roles that are based upon Africans or based upon West Indians, like they getting something out of it. You getting more out of it than they are.
That's exactly the point I was making. You're contradicting yourself.
You get more out of it than they ever could or
How?
ever would.
It's the exact same thing.
They're at the top of their game, and they're taking the time out of their day to play these positions, these roles that they really don't need to. They don't need to work another day in their life. Matter of fact, you talk about Will Smith, you talk about Forrest Whitaker, you talk about Viola Davis. Are we talking about the same person? The same person? Okay, y'all come over here and get your whole careers launched. Ain't nobody know what that Rebel Ridge guy was. That's Mufasa. What's his name? Ain't nobody knew who he was until he was Tiana Taylor was wearing him like a purse like everywhere she go. Nobody knew who he was. Y'all launch your careers pretending to be Black Americans.
So you're okay with Black Americans playing Africans?
That whole movie was based upon the Deep South, racist white people in the Deep South, and he's some Marine that knows how to karate chop and do all this. Okay, y'all playing ethnic Black Americans and launch your careers off of that. So stop trying to play like you don't understand what's going on. Okay. Please stop trying to play
you didn't concede the fact I made. You said everything but the fact, which is you're okay with Black Americans playing African roles because you thought
to the history of Hollywood and the Caribbean people.
The history. So you're okay with one type of.
First of all, go off the Richter scale. You like to hear what you like to hear. Okay, all the people you name that played historically African figures, right? Nelson Mandela, was that Forrest Whitaker? Nelson Mandela.
No, that was Morgan
somebody
Freeman.
else earlier came up talking
Forrest
about,
Whitaker played Idi Amin. Viola Davis played.
I'm gonna tell you right now, chat. Who is that? Chat. Who is that? Well, I know Nelson Mandela. Who is Who is that? Chat.
He won his Oscar claim.
Add some facts to the conversation.
Let me tell you the
Just because you don't know who it is doesn't mean that.
You're distorting my entire life. You're distorting my entire life. And I know the words are up there in plain English. This is about ethnic media erasure. So there's a formula needed for it to be considered ethnic media erasure, and that's frequency, degree, and impact. Okay, so don't tell me about some one movie Forrest Whitaker did. Okay, don't tell me about some one movie Viola Davis did, when all y'all do is come over here and launch your entire career off of pretending to be Black Americans. Okay, it is a false equivalency. We're not talking about you just picking up a little job. We're not talking about you just picking up a little job and a little passion project. We're talking about the depth and severity of ethnic erasure, okay? And you talking about people who already have their careers going on, and you act like they're perpetuating
you moved the goalposts.
You're acting like, no, my prompt's been here since the beginning, babes. If you can't read, just say that. If you can't read, just say that. All right, the prompt's been there since the beginning. If you matter of fact, you came in here changing the goalposts, and we let you speak, and ain't nobody interrupt you. So don't interrupt people now, okay? Don't interrupt people now. See, and you kind of told on yourself because you basically said that to say that any African or West Indians are not ethnically right for the role, right? You wouldn't want to tell your child that. But Black American roles are the only roles. It's like you forget this day country. You the guest. You the whole guest here. It's their roles. So their roles wouldn't dim down. Okay, you act like The whole Wayne's brother has a whole production company. Okay, y'all act like everything white people just throw out